Hello boys, welcome back to another session of video tutorials, and this session is meant for class 12th biology students, and this is meant for 14th July 2020. And in this session we are going to discuss about further various causative organisms and what are the diseases that they cause, how to prevent them, and we should know in what way they get transmitted so that we can take precautionary measures. If you recollect from your memory, we were talking about malaria last time, and you understand that malaria is spread by a vector or a carrier called female Anopheles mosquito. Now, there are certain diseases that spread directly from pathogen, and there are certain diseases that are caused by a pathogen but spread by a carrier or vector. So in this session we are going to talk about amoebiasis, or it is commonly known as amoebic dysentery. The causative agent is what normally we call amoeba, but biological name is Entamoeba histolytica. Take care of the spelling, write 2-3 times. Entamoeba histolytica, and all of you know this belongs to phylum Protozoa, so it's a protozoan. And what is the way it spreads? Normally it spreads through oral route whenever we consume polluted water, and through polluted water it comes. And then fecal matter, say the fecal matter having this Entamoeba histolytica getting mixed up in water sources, and from those water sources water is pumped for consumption, then it will become spreading from source to source, from person to person, from village to village. So we need to take care of that. So transmission of parasite from feces, that's the bowels of infected person to food or food products through house flies. So these are, of course, the houseflies only carry superficially, mechanically. They don't allow that inside. It's not an endo, it's exo. And drinking contaminated water by the fecal matter or in the main source of infection, particularly rivers, lakes, one must be very careful about that. And what is the target organ? The big intestine, large intestine. And how do you know that a person is having amoebic dysentery? And the first and foremost is severe abdominal pain and passing out of mucus and blood in fecal matter, and the constipation is alternated with loose stools, loose motions. So symptoms include severe abdominal pain, cramps in the stomach, loose motion, and the loose motion will have mucus and blood, and followed by constipation. So if we see these symptoms in a person, we understand that the person is suffering with amoebic dysentery. And what is the treatment that we get for this? Normally a tablet called metronidazole or tinidazole. These are normal tablets that are prescribed. And look at that, how is that it is getting spread from person to person. So this is the infected stool, the yellow one, in the water sources, and whenever we consume that contaminated water or food is ingested, it goes inside. The target organ is the big intestine. It reaches point number 2, the big intestine. So the cyst transforms into an active form of the parasite in the intestine. It can live there causing mild symptoms for some time. And then in some cases parasite burrows through the wall of the intestine. In severe cases even there will be holes in the big intestine. It can then carry to a bloodstream and can infect other organs such as liver and lungs. So some of the parasites, point number 4, some of the parasites pass out in the feces and transform back into the cyst to survive the harsh conditions outside until they find another host. So the amoeba can become a cyst. What is the difference between a cyst and or a spore? A spore, when it develops 2 to 3 external layers, become a thick layered one, and undergo a sort of dormancy to overcome the negative factors in the environment. And once the conditions become good for that, the cyst can break up and produce n number of spores. That's how the cysts are very dangerous. And next we go to the helminthes diseases, that is ascariasis. This ascariasis is caused by this infection is caused by a round worm, and this is biologically we call it Ascaris lumbricoides. Ascaris lumbricoides. Right ones, take care of the spelling. And this is a helminthes. It's a round worm. And how do you get this? A healthy person requires infection through contaminated water and contaminated soil also. And what are the symptoms? Adult worms obstruct the intestinal passage, thereby causing severe abdominal pain, or we say colic pain, indigestion, diarrhea and vomiting. So these are the symptoms that a person having ascariasis will exhibit. And again here the target organ is intestine. And there will be sometimes when the infection becomes so severe, there will be bleeding of intestine, severe muscular pain, fever, anemia, and of course, as I said, blockage of the intestine. And how to avoid that? If we know the epidemiology, consumption of contaminated water, so avoid contaminated water. Vegetables, fruits, so you must always wash thoroughly the vegetables and fruits and then consume. Contamination takes place through feces of the infected person, which are the egg of parasite. So there should be good hygienic conditions prevailing. So this is how the ascaris, there will be male and a female. The male one is short and the female one is long. You can see here, whenever we consume the infected material, infected food, infected water, and look at our intestine, how many worms are there inside, ascariasis. And then next we go to the next helminthic organism, that is elephantiasis. And this elephantiasis is also called filariasis. And the causative organism, many times in your board exam as well as UPSC India exam, this will be asked, Wucheria bancrafti. And this is causing filariasis. And again, write once or twice, check the spelling. Epidemiology, bite of the female mosquito, Culex. You see, in case of malaria, we said female Anopheles mosquito. Here, female Culex. Again, both are females, female Culex. And target organ, here, lymphatic system. So, lymphatic vessels present in lower limbs, genital organs, etc. And what are the symptoms? Permanent swelling, mostly of feet, legs, thighs, and scrotal sacs, and sometimes even the breast. And we normally call it as elephant legs. So there will be bulging, abnormal swelling of legs. And a person having this can have the treatment also, a tablet called albendazole and diethyl carbamazine. These are normally prescribed by the doctors. But of course, no self-medication. We need to consult a doctor. And as I said, chronic inflammation of organs, many years it will be there. Lymphatic vessels will be affected. And you can see here the deformation of genital organ also. And look at the photo. This is how the filariasis, Wucheria, will spread. And look at the leg swelling, abnormal swelling. That's how we call it as elephant leg. How does it spread? And look at the number one. Mosquito takes a blood meal, mosquito bites, and releases a lot of adults in lymphatics. And these two, third stage, adults produce sheath microvilli which migrate into lymph and blood. So they are reaching the target area. And mosquito takes another bite, ingests microvilli, and then microvilli shed sheaths, penetrate mosquitoes midgut and migrate to thoracic muscles. From mosquitoes midgut, it reaches the thoracic muscles where larvae, primitive larvae, they are called L1 larvae, are produced, and they get matured and become L3 larvae. And L3 larvae migrate to head and proboscis of the mosquito, and again it bites another person. So this is how the cycle goes on. And here the agent or the carrier that is helping to spread the disease is Culex. So there are two female mosquitoes which are causing severe diseases. That is female Anopheles mosquito spreading the malaria and female Culex spreading filariasis. So to stop the spread of these two deadly diseases, we must prevent two female mosquitoes. So prevention is better than cure. And then finally, ringworm. Ringworm is because of tinea, and the causative organism Microsporum trichophyton epidermophyton. This is a fungal disease, and this out of that trichophyton is very dangerous, and this is acquired from soil using towel, cloths, or even comb of infected individuals. I was telling you in the class, you must have your own comb. That should not be shared. Your towel should not be shared. And heat and moisture enhances the growth of this organism. And where are the target organs? Skin, nails, folds of skin in groin, toes, etc. And what happens to the person when these organs are affected? So first thing, appearance of dry scaly lesions in skin, nails and scalp, and something like dandruff we call it, and lesion accompanied with intense itching. There is itching sensation, and appearance of lesions on various parts such as skin, nails, scalp. And then when we go to the doctor for the fungal treatment, normally they prescribe a tablet called miconazole and griseofulvin, liquid form also it will be given. So look at this. This is how the ringworm takes place. Look at the nails, toes getting affected in between the nails, and the skin rashes. And of course, when we see under electron microscope, this is how the fungus appears, Microsporum. And for all this, there is only one thing: prevention is better than cure. So prevention and control of diseases. We know that various sources through which it comes. So if we can make those sources clean or avoid that, we are okay. So infectious disease can be prevented through maintenance of personal hygiene. This is most important, and public hygiene. So diseases can be grouped as food-borne diseases and waterborne diseases. Second, airborne diseases. Third, vector-borne diseases. So if we can control these sources, good food, clean water, good air, without any vector, I think we will be successful in not having any diseases. So food and waterborne diseases, already we talked: typhoid, amoebiasis, ascariasis. So there should be clean food and clean drinking water. We'll be studying more about this